Welcome to this lesson on adding customary units. I hope you like the graphics that go with today's lesson. I let Aria pick them out, so I'm sure you'll notice a common theme with them. So I hope you enjoy that. Otherwise, we're going to take a look at how to add, just right now, working on adding those customary units. We're working with time, length, capacity, and time, length, capacity. What am I missing? Weight, duh. Time, length, capacity, and weight. So we can look at this in two different ways. So here we're just talking about time. So we're adding 3 hours and 55 minutes, or the time of 3:55, plus 5 hours and 32 minutes. And right now we're not looking at it as a word problem, we're just looking at the math behind it. Now you have to remember, time works in units of 60. So 60 seconds to a minute, 60 minutes to an hour, etc., etc. So in this case, if you just add, you get 5 plus 2 is 7, 5 plus 3 is 8, and 3 plus 5 is 8. Well, the problem here is our 87. You can't have 87 when we're talking about time. So there's a couple ways that you can do this. Typically, when you're just going to add time like this, we're just going to look at how you would do this and look at it as base 60. So you can add it as is, and then you can say, well, now I have to subtract 60 because of the fact that there's only 60 minutes in an hour, and I get 27. That 60 minutes, though, has to get added to the 8 as an hour, so that 60 minutes that we took out is equal to 1 hour. So this becomes 9:27. So let's break it down a little bit more and look at what's going on here. So I have 3:55 plus 5 hours and 32 minutes. So this is like saying it's 3:55 p.m. What time will it be in 5 hours and 32 minutes? Okay, well, we know that we can do 5 plus 2, which is 7. In this case, we have 5 plus 3, which is 8, but that's not going to work. That's going to give us 87. So what I have to do is I have to say, okay, I have 87 and I have to subtract 60, and that leaves me with 27 minutes. Now, that 60 minutes that I took from here, that I took away from the 87, has to turn into 1 hour. Okay, so we have 87 minutes and 8 hours. Okay, so then this is where you can say, all right, well, I took away that 60 and I'm left with 27. And then we have to take this 1 hour and put it back into the 8 hours and make it 9 hours. Okay, because we went 27 minutes over into the next hour. Or what you can do as well is you can say, okay, well, I have 3:55. There's a lot of different ways to think about this, but right now the most common way to do it is to look at it like this. And then to do your extra pieces off to the side. So I have 3:55. If I take and I do 5 more minutes, that's going to give me an even 4 hours. So I can take that 5 hours and 32 minutes and subtract 5 minutes, and I get 5. 12 minus 5 is 7. I get 27. Okay, so now I can say, okay, well, now I have to add 5:27 to this, and this becomes 27 minutes, and this becomes 9 hours. Because I made this first part, actually make that circle a little smaller, I made this first part go up to an hour, the next hour, by taking 5 minutes from this piece. So I took 5 minutes from the 32, added it to the 55, so I could turn this into 4 o'clock. Right? So if it makes sense to you to do it this way by saying, okay, I'm going to take away those 5 minutes, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, if you're comfortable saying I'm going to do 55 plus 32 and get 87, and then I know I have to take away 60 and do your regrouping that way, that's absolutely fine. This is just like when we would do subtracting with mixed numbers and we would have to regroup, except for now you're using regrouping with addition as well. Okay. This might take some time, but we are going to get plenty of practice with it. So now let's think of lengths. So again, I have 2 feet 8 inches plus 1 foot 6 inches. I have to remember that 12 inches equals 1 foot. So you always have to remember your conversion factor for whatever you're talking about. If we were talking about yards, then our conversion factor would be different. But in this case, we're just working with inches and feet. So I'm going to take my 2 feet and 8 inches plus my 1 foot 6 inches. And I can say 8 plus 6 is 14. 2 plus 1 is 3 feet. I have to take 12 inches out of here so I can turn them into, turns into 1 foot, and then the 1 foot gets added on over here. So this becomes 2 inches, and this 1 foot gets added on to the 3, and I get 4 feet 2 inches. Another way I can look at it is I can say, okay, 2 feet 8 inches. To get to 12, I know I have to add 4. So that would give me 2 feet 12 inches, which is actually equal to 3 feet. If I take away 4 inches from the 1 foot 6 inches, because the 4 that I added here has to get taken away from here, and I get 1 foot 2 inches, now I can add 1 foot, and actually I identified this wrong, that's a foot. Let's say 1 foot 2 inches. I can add them and I get 4 feet 2 inches. Again, whatever you're most comfortable with is fine by me. Typically, this is what you're going to find when you're starting out. This usually helps out the most, and then progressing to this over here. All right, again, we're working with pounds and ounces, so we have to remember 1 pound equals 16 ounces. So I'm going to start with the second way that we looked at it and say that I have 8 ounces plus 9 ounces. So I'm going to look at it a little differently. I'm not going to put the pounds in until the end, and I know that that gives me 17 ounces. I know 17 ounces is equal to 1 pound, 1 ounce. And now I'm going to add the pounds into that. So first what I did, and actually let's put this in color coding. So first what I did was I added the ounces, and this is what I got. And then now I'm going to add all the pounds. But now here's another pound. So I have 2 pounds plus 1 pound plus another 1 pound, which gives me 4 pounds. So together my answer is 4 pounds, 1 ounce. Or I can do 2 pounds, 8 ounces, and I can add 1 pound, 9 ounces. I get 17 ounces, and I get 3 pounds. I subtract 16 from here, so I can add 1 over here. I get 4 pounds, 1 ounce. Or I can look at it and say, okay, from 2 pounds, 8 ounces, I would need another 8 ounces to get up to 2 pounds and 16 ounces, which would be equal to 3 pounds. Now that 8 ounces would get taken away from the original 9. Okay, so I have 3 pounds there. So I had 1 pound, 9 ounces. I'm going to take away the 8 that I added up here. So that's going to give me 1 pound, 1 ounce. And then I can add that to the 3, and it would still give me 4 pounds, 1 ounce. So no matter how I do it, I get the same answer. It's whatever way you're most comfortable with, and that works for you. Soon I would like you to progress to the point where you can take away ounces from here and add them over here to make it into just pounds. But working with the regrouping works as well, because you need to understand that what's happening is you're taking these ounces, regrouping them into a pound, and you'll have some leftovers sometimes. Again, like I said, we're going to have a lot of time to work through this. Okay, so as a word problem, we can look at this and say, and I'm only going to do one word problem, because again, it makes more sense for you to practice than to sit here and watch me do it 100 times. If the train leaves at 6:42 a.m. and arrives 1 hour and 30 minutes later, what is the arrival time? All right, well, if it starts at 6:42 and it takes an hour, so you're adding 1 hour and 30 minutes to 6:42, because that's when you start, and then you're on the train for that long. I get 2 plus 0 is 2, 4 plus 3 is 7, 6 plus 1 is 7, but here I have 72, so I have to subtract 60, which regroup into an hour. So this actually becomes 8, 12, and that doesn't get me past noon, so it would still be a.m. Or I can look at this and say, okay, 6:42, because in real life, this is typically what you'll do. You say, okay, 6:42. To get myself to the next hour, I would have to add 18 minutes. That'll get me to 7 o'clock. If I add 18 minutes, that means I have to take those 18 minutes off my duration, because I added those 18 by themselves. And when I do that, I get 1 hour and 12 minutes. And then I add the 7 o'clock plus the hour and 12 minutes that are left after that first 18 minutes. And that gives me 8:12 a.m. Again, however you want to do it, that makes most sense to you. It's completely up to you. But always, like I say, you have to try. You have to find what works for you and work on your problem solving. All right, so I have 4 problems for you to try on your own. Again, try the different methods and see what works best for you. As always, if you have any questions, please be sure to write them down or email me so we can go over them in class.